Welcome to Worlds Collide, a wrestling card podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fans, featuring Tony Vella from WrestlingTradingCards.com.
This is like a stock market.
And Zhan Morning from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, I'm just posing the question. Join them as they navigate the world of wrestling cards, helping you build a bigger and better collection and making some money along the way. What's up, wrestling fans, trading card collectors? Worlds Collide, another week, another episode, and pretty popular one today because I think this is something that resonates more than any other space in the hobby. Maybe outside of like entertainment cards. But wrestling fans love their autograph cards. It seems like over any type of card there is, autograph cards seem to be what the hobby's kind of gravitated to. And there's different levels of that based on talent and where the card comes from. And of course, this is one of those ideas that Tony shoots over to me while he's, doing who knows what, probably at the National. And he was like, oh yeah, here's an idea. The rise of
when did I send
cards.
these to? I just sent these to you not too long ago, I think. I mean,
I think it honestly was during the National.
I just sat there and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's one idea. And here's another. And I better put these down in a text and send them to Zhan right now.
There was you were at a showcase and you saw this Miz card. And the guy had 15 grand on it, and you said, how about 14 grand and 50 cents? And he said, no deal. And you're like, no deal. I'm sending this out.
He's like, dude, it's the Miz. Come on.
All right. So I guess, why do you think that autograph cards seem to be so popular within wrestling cards?
Let's be more specific to the audience right now, because this is my idea of this particular topic was, I'm not even talking about pack pulled cards. That's where the idea came from. Like outside of the pack pulled autographs, stickers on card, I don't care what it is. The hobby seems to be more into lately of through the mail or in person, like taking a card. A perfect example is obviously the 82, 83 All-Stars.
Sure.
People getting those cards and they're meeting Greg Valentine, having them sign it. They're meeting Hacks on having them sign it. It's like that. And that's sort of kind of taken off now. And like, where is that coming from? Like I was kind of curious as to why now. Like I used to do that years ago, by the way, and I wasn't doing that with the All-Stars because that to me was just like, that's my set. I don't want to have any extras. I'm not breaking the set. But I would take my extra base cards of certain talent, and back with David Porto back in there, before WTC was born and in the 90s, and going out there and just meeting talent at an event and having them sign my trading card. To me, that was much easier to travel with. I could have a whole bunch of them. I have to carry out all these 8x10s. And David was doing 8x10s. I was doing trading cards. He got me into doing 8x10s, and I kind of stopped doing trading cards. And because I just thought, oh, these are bigger. I can frame them. I can put them in this better. And I stopped doing it. But I used to have a ton of trading cards. Like, I'm talking like Armand level type, post of getting cards signed all the time, everywhere I went. And now that kind of went away. And now all of a sudden, the last couple of years, especially the last year, you start seeing a lot of guys, again, All-Stars being one of them, but going out and getting a lot of, base cards signed. And why is that?
There's a whole lot of reasons. Honestly, we'll try to get as much in as we can. You mentioned some of them, and, it's just my opinion, but I'll start with it. Wrestling cards, just the popularity in general, like they're out there now. People that were wrestling fans that didn't collect before were like, oh, these are kind of cool. It's kind of like a poster I have or an 8x10, except for it's easier to carry, it's easier to store. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. Second thing, it's smaller than an action figure. That's another good one. Yeah. The second thing is it's a cool like moment, like it's a moment in time of that card that you're then able to almost relive with the superstar in front of you at a convention, at a wrestling show. Mm-hmm. I know that you said the TTM through the mail, that's still an option because they had it in their house or whatever, and they said they handled it and sent it back to you. So it's a cool connection moment. And something I want to think about from like the business perspective is there are people out there that are seeing how inexpensive these base cards are, and they're taking advantage of it. And the fans are just as happy. High Spots full transparency, has bought cards from me, stacks of base cards, and then all of a sudden you'll see them for sale, like sealed in a one touch that they had a signing come through, and the people that are buying those from them are just as happy to get those because you see them talk about it on social media. So and I'm sure that, you know, from a convention standpoint, that's something that's inexpensive and cheap for the talent to sign, to buy, sign, resell to the fans at an affordable price, yet they're still going to make huge margins on it.
Yeah, because you know, doing conventions now, and you know, for years and years and years, I would see. Let's just say the average person had 100 fans come, you know, during the course of a convention. Of those 100 fans coming to the table, two tops, maybe two tops, would bring a trading card. Sometimes not at all. Maybe not at all. But maybe let's just to be nice and say on average, two people would come and bring out of 100 fans a trading card. Of course, me being a trading card, you know, fan myself, I like, hey, you know, if you ever check out WrestlingTradingCards.com, I see you're a card collector, and I just, you know, do my spiel and things like that. And like, oh yeah, you know, sometimes they've heard it, sometimes they haven't. Da da da. It's like, but that's the reason. Like, oh well, they're smaller. I like to have them. That's what I've always done, kind of thing. Now I'm seeing when I go to do conventions more recently, I'll see maybe a dozen people come now to. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a hell of a lot more than it was, you know, one or two.
Yep.
Now it's like, you know, dozen will like, and sometimes maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's not a dozen different people. Maybe it's 6 different people who now have multiple cards they want to get signed now, like different things like, oh well, I have like 4 Lita cards. Is there a way I can get, like, you know? And so you know, I'm just noticing more and more at shows now, people are getting cards. I think it's great. I was just kind of curious to kind of hear other people's opinions on why they do it, why they like it, why they think it's suddenly all it's been more popular than ever now.
We can dig into that even more. So the All Stars, like that has become this. I think the modern collector who is not a grading snob understands that it's a second level of chase that you can get in a vintage card. These guys, you know, like pick a random guy, Austin Idol. Like I love Austin Idol. I love Memphis Wrestling. Austin Idol doesn't have a lot of stuff in WWE products. So to get one of his first cards autographed, that may be one of the only autograph cards he has, let alone being in that iconic set. So for that specific set, it's an extra level of chase in a set where there is no chase. So I think that's something.
It's a self-made chase.
Yes,
what it is.
and I've seen some people that are like diehard fans, baseball specifically, that have taken something that's been overproduced, that's not worth anything, and they have tried to get that whole set autographed. And I think that's such a cool chase. You know, me and you have talked about several times, like finding your lane, going after it and finding that collection, building that out, chasing that grail and getting that stuff put together. Maybe it's inexpensive and maybe it's not worth a lot, but it's something that's really fun to do and collect. I think that's another thing that people are doing, is kind of like trying to put together autograph sets of in-person autographs. Maybe they don't even grade. And so that's just another thing, is some of these cards, the only way that you could get that talent to autograph that card with that specific moment of picture on the card or whatever is at these conventions or in person. And I think it's got more of a connectability to it, as opposed to, you know, pulling something out of a pack. Okay, yeah, they signed it, but you know, there's still value there, especially in wrestling. Like wrestling fans value the autograph over the parallel card that's out of, you know, just like even a gold parallel. I would say if you would like probably take a poll, the average wrestling card collector, do you want a Booker T autograph or do you want a Booker T numbered out of 50 gold? They're probably gonna be like autograph, because that's just, you know, that's what the majority of them like. So
I think coming to the conventions and getting stuff signed in person, however means that you do that, whether on the street, wherever, I also think it brings a level of less fear. You know, that's legit. I just took that fear out, that I don't have to worry, because I got it in person. I did it, you know, and now with the authentication companies now too, like if I wanted to flip it, I mean, I can go to authentication company, but it's all part of that meeting someone too. I mean, that's, people like wonder why, like, you know, are certain prices the way they are. You know, now we live in a world now where obviously you have like Fitterman out there, you know, charging these astronomical numbers for, you know, certain talents to sign things, you know, And I guess because on one side, it's like, well, they get it because they understand there's a market for that, and why not charge someone more when they know they're going to probably go out and it could be worth 5 times what they're going to charge for that anyway. So I get that side of it too. Um, yeah, it's a matter of like you pay for the experience. So when you're there, you're paying for the experience, and what a cool experience it is to get something like a trading card signed. Because again, with the easiness of it, and but at the same token, I got guys who have nothing about, they don't care about trading cards at all. Like, I got to have my belt signed, I got to have my action figures, I got to get my pop signed, I got to get my all that kind of stuff. But that's all their lanes. So
Yeah, and I think that's just a different type of collector.
mhm.
Like this is the card collecting community. It seems like in other sports or other segments where like if you get the base card or the rookie card or whatever it is autographed, it's almost defacing the card. That was kind of the old
100%.
mentality.
And I've had that conversation before. Back, I had an ex who was really much into the Broncos and loved John Elway, and so that came up like, hey, I have, you know, got a couple of his rookie cards for her at the time. It's like that. She wanted to get one assigned. I go, there's like a section of the market that goes, oh well, whatever the rookie card was, and then whatever the autograph price is, that's the now the true value of that card. Others go, are you kidding me? It was a rookie card. You just devalued it by defacing it because he wrote on it, kind of thing. So
Right.
it was like different strokes for different folks, kind of thing. But in wrestling, they don't seem to care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and another thing I want to talk about, we haven't touched on it yet, is the wrestling card community hates sticker autographs with a passion, which is again something different. Like you go to the sports card avenue, not the big most people are not big fans of sticker autographs, but if there's, a top quarterback or, a hot baseball prospect and they have a gold parallel or a, out of 5 red or something like that and it's got a sticker auto on it, that thing can, reach astronomical levels
Yeah.
of sales, whereas if you go look at like some of the TNA like Hogan autographs or just pick a random set, pick a decent name talent and find some of their on card autos, and they're selling for, even though it's maybe not near as popular as a card, they seem to do better from a monetary perspective than say like Prism sticker autos
Yeah.
or
Well,
random other sticker autos.
it's that mentality too of thinking like, well, they touched the card when they were signing, as opposed to stickers that somebody else ended up touching it and putting on the card. So it's another level of connectivity to that talent. It's like, oh well, Booker actually held on to this card and signed it, so as opposed to the sticker that I just signed a whole sheet full of 30 stickers per sheet, kind of thing.
I have one other thing I want to touch on, and this is more of like I want to get your opinion, and I think it'll actually help some people listening. We've talked about people taking your cards to conventions or to wrestling events or whatever it is to get them signed. So I want to get your opinion because I've got a pretty I'm pretty bearish on this. Is like, what type of cards are you getting signed? Like, I think base cards are the best option because they're plentiful. They're
Hmm.
taking something that's been printed to the moon, essentially, and kind of, again, making that more of a chase, like something that there's, 50,000 of. Maybe there's only 5,000 of those, that specific autographed base card.
Hmm.
Maybe it's in a PSA slab, or maybe it's just in your collection. But the point is, there's only so many of those. And you may like we just talked about the defacing the section of the hobby. I'm not really talking about that, but what I do not like, and I apologize, I'll just tell the story that I saw on social media. Tony, maybe you saw it, maybe somebody else see it, and if you're listening to this, I apologize, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I saw an Orange Cassidy 1 of 1 get signed in person with a silver Sharpie, and it looked awful. Like, you want to talk about defacing a card? Like having a 1 of 1 signed with just a crappy Sharpie on there. I was just like, you just ruined this. So am I too much of a nerd in saying that I don't like? Recently, Golden, actually, time of recording, I think they've got a Hogan PMG that's been signed up for
Hmm.
auction. I don't want that. Like, I want the PMG as it's supposed to be. I want the base card Hogan's signed. Do you see the logic there? What do
Yeah,
you think?
I get it. I mean, I took a 1 of 1 printing plate that I have
D-
of Kurt Angle's like that, but
does it
it's a
have a?
printing plate. It's a printing plate of the autograph card, so I just had him sign it. So
I
it
was
kind
gonna
of
say,
fit
does it have the autograph space in there? And when they do have that, does that change things for you?
100%. It's just this card right here.
It looks like it came from the pack.
Yeah, it looks like it came from the pack. So it's like it's a printing plate. So I just picked up some more printing plates of Kurt Angle from that set that are from the base set, but I'm not getting those signed.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying on that. It's different strokes again for different folks, I guess, like that. But I mean, if you're going to do something like that, you would think you'd want to do something that I think like, I kind of want this to pop and stand out like that. And silver on a magenta or something like that, it's just not going to work. It's
Yeah.
just not going to work. I would maybe done like a baby blue paint pen or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I get it. Like base cards are probably the way. They're plentiful. They're cheap.
You can have an extra chase with them, getting
Sure.
10 different base cards and 10 different colors of ink.
Yeah, sure. And build your own rainbow.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to be fun and cool with that kind of stuff. But again, the topic for me was just to kind of bring up that I've noticed that it's become more of a popular thing. Obviously, the All Stars became a thing. You know, watching Uncle Danny do his thing,
Yep.
always watching Robin been doing his thing forever. You know, seeing PAX, seeing your stuff you've been chasing after lately. Francisco, watching all these guys out there, these amazing collectors with amazing collections, getting stuff signed. It just seems like it's picked up more steam lately. Even to me, like I got a couple I went and got recently. I mean, hell, I've got who did I get recently? I got Jake the Snake, and I got
Hacksaw, right?
I got Hacksaw. It's like that. You know what? I got them. Might as well go ahead and take them and get them signed too. So
Yep.
it's fun. It adds a little bit level, like you said, of chase to it. Where like I took something that was like done, that's it, and said, you know what? I'm gonna take it one more step to another levels like that. You know, like I'm waiting for someone now to go like, I'm gonna take my 82 flare and I'm gonna take a little snippet of his ring worn gear, glue it on there, and have him
Oh
sign it.
my.
Someone's gonna do it. Someone's
Probably.
gonna do it. You know what you guys do? You take all those stupid damn bootleg ones, those reprint that they're putting out there all over the place. You take those and you make your own little event worn type of thing.
Funny you say that. I saw a 82 Hogan, and I don't know if it's established as a reprint or actual one, but it has a Hogan sticker auto on it. I was like, if this is real, this just makes me want to throw up.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, just kind of circling back, the wrestling car community loves on card in person autographs. And I've talked
Agreed.
to a lot of sports guys that are like, why do you guys do this? Like, you're defacing the card. Why don't you want the PSA 10 or the highest grade you can get?
Sure.
And I'm like, well, yeah, there's those people in wrestling cards too. Like, you've talked about David and Rob, like they like their autographs, but they also really value their high grade cards. And
Of course.
that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Nope.
for me, it's always been for the All Stars. It's that extra level of chase because I bought the whole set. I had it all, and I was like, these are cool. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing a couple people sign them, and I'm like, okay, there it is. That's it.
Yep.
That's the next thing.
Yep.
But and again, I wanted to go back to if you're listening out there by chance, if you're a professional wrestler or a promoter or whoever, like wrestling cards are such an inexpensive way to sell merchandise at your table
Yep.
and to get these things signed by, if you've got somebody, a special guest coming in, or maybe you want to create your own wrestling card set for your own promotion. Like cards are just the best things to get signed and collect, in my opinion, for stuff like that.
And kids are loving them. Paul Anand from the Wrestling Card Price Guide, put out a 40 card promo set to help promote his site. So it's a beautiful little card set. And he takes them to a local promotion up in Toronto, and he lays them out there. He's got a deal with the promoter there, and they lay them all out. He puts them all on every chair in the entire house, and he just watches as the kids scramble and they want to trade and get this and get that. It's like that, and he's building, people interest in kids like wanting to get these cards like that. So it's always a fun way to get people into the hobby.
Yeah, and something else I think is cool, and we'll close on this, is that I think you just like this is creating a creative thing for the collector because you can take the card and maybe it's not necessarily a base card, like maybe it is a card of a specific moment that meant the most to you when you were watching wrestling. So I joked in the last episode about the like homemade Vince autographs that we keep seeing come out bootleg or whatever. So I saw somebody took a picture of his limousine explosion, and there was an auto on it. I'm like, man, how cool would that be if like that was your introduction to like that period of that time period in wrestling, and you
Sure.
could get that talent to sign that specific photo. Or when the NWO, like there was an NWO Legends set that's in the, I think it's 2021 flagship for WWE, and it was like NWO Hall of Fame, and it was like kind of like the first card was like hauled in the ring on that first night when he jumped the rail. And I'm like, what if that was your first like introduction to wrestling, was that specific moment, and then if you could actually get that card signed by that person,
Mm-hmm.
just something cool that
Yep.
you can think of. This hobby, like, it's not all about money, and it's not all about having the best collection. It's about what's the most you can get out of it and have fun doing it. We
A lot of
continually talk about that.
a lot of collectors I've discovered now since kind of getting back into this stuff again in the last couple of years, of just certain really creative people out there who've found some very unique ways to collect along the same lines of what you're just saying. It's like that, guys like, I'm only collect Undertaker street cards. That's all
Yep.
collect. I mean, that's just such a brilliant thing. Like I'm sure there's probably somebody out there going, hey, I only collect every Royal Rumble winner. That's all I collect. Or it's
Well,
such
and
a
then
cool thing.
we've got Doug Driesel Jr. from Green Circle Trading, who took our idea that we joked about like I don't know how many months ago, and he's actually doing it now. He's trying to collect enough ring mat relics to put together a regulation size ring.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there you go.
He took the dimensions and figured out it's going to take this many cards to do it and it's like that. And he just started, but he's got a long way to go. But what a great journey that would be! Like, can you imagine when he goes like, "I've got enough cards, ring mat cards that I could actually build my own ring." And it's like we've joked about stuff like that before,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's so many of those things, and we can make our own ring." He's like, "You know what? That'd be a cool collection." That's just creative thinking, man.
Yep. And having, and again, it goes back to having fun like that. The creative thinking leads to these fun things you can do, which it we're in the down market. A lot of people feel like they're in this stagnant place, and going out to these conventions and putting together autograph sets, or trying to get cool inscriptions. That's another thing I like on a lot of the vintage cards,
Oh
is like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
random old inscriptions. Like, I see a lot of people doing those at card shows now. So like, just think outside the box when you're doing this. Maybe that autograph base card from that random job guy, like I don't know, maybe like Lenny Lane or Jerry Flynn, like maybe one of those guys is going to show up. But like, maybe they were a vital part of WCW Nitro. Maybe they made you laugh at one point. So get a cool inscription from them, or find one of their cards and have them, give them one of their own cards and have them sign. Like, there's just so many endless opportunities when you start thinking about
Yep,
stuff like this.
yep. Good stuff.
Anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I think we covered everything on that one.
Thank you guys for listening. Tony, of course, let them know where they can find you and everything else you got going on.
Man, if you've been listening to this show for a while, it's wrestlingtradingcards.com.
We got to drill it into their heads, though.
Of course. Everything's on wrestlingtradingcards.com. All ways to get in contact with me. We got a great team of people: Chuckster, Paul, Armand. Scouring the world looking for everything, trying to figure out what's what and where it's from, and give you all the information. 20
And
years doing this, man.
I want to continue to also hammer home to please subscribe to the WTC YouTube channel. Great content, great guests, great
Thanks.
kind of, I guess, roundtables. I keep wanting to say panels, but I'm just like, I'm so like in starstruck from your guys' national panel. I'm
Uh,
like, oh man, these guys are superstars now. They're the panel
well,
hosts.
we did sign a few cards ourselves up there. Just
I know. Yeah. Speaking of hand signed cards in person.
that was just kind of an oddball thing like that. Brian was the first guy to walk up there and handed me the T-shirt card. He brought his T-shirt because he bought a WTC T-shirt,
You want
and he
that's
brought one,
awesome.
and he brought it. And he goes, he puts out there. He goes, 1 of 1, baby. I go, yeah, it's a 1 of 1. I mean, it was just great. I mean, signed a few of them like that. Got I remember, speaking of some signed cards, gonna have something. Took a play right out of the Card Foundation guys playbook. So we have something simple, and these are going to be going up at some point in time because we're trying to raise some money to keep offset the cost for WTC, because it's not free. WTC, it's just a labor of love stuff, comes right out of my pocket. So in ways to try to raise money, I did the Kevin Nash one originally, and it was mildly successful. The T-shirt was great, sold out. That was good. But we made a special trading card, especially for the national.
Awesome.
In the back, pretty much just says, congratulations, you attended the 2022 National Sports Collectors Convention and got this simple yet cool trading card. And they're numbered 1 of 5 through 5 of 5. There's 5 signed by Paul, Chuckster, and myself.
Well, hopefully I can get one. That'd be great.
So
one of the
how
lucky
many will
5.
exist after, by the time I put these up? Who knows? I know my wife has the only 1 of 1. She wanted 1 by my first print, so I only had total of 50 cards printed. She took the top 1 right away, had me sign it, and she forced me to write 1 of 1 on it. And then so 49 became available to the public. Of that, 5 have been now signed by us, and the rest all went out to people at the national.
See how much fun that you just created a hand signed card that's not numbered, that's not a PMG, that's not one of, like, I mean, it is a 1 of 1, but you like just created this stuff out of nothing.
It was fun to try to promote, obviously, but to see. But the Card Foundation guys, Danny and Johnny had the same thing going there. They had their card, and people were clamoring for it, man. People just into that panel you watch. People just hey, they just stormed the tables like that. And they all wanted their free card. Some of them handed it back and wanted it signed.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say some of it handed it back, and I was
No,
like, oh,
this isn't a Cubs game, dude.
Like, oh, these are wrestling. I wanted baseball. Here you go.
Oh, I thought I didn't know. I was looking for amateur wrestling. Sorry. Yeah. So, which was a question, by the way, at the panel. Someone was asking about values on stuff like that, and that's where I really wish someone like a Rob England was there. It's right up his alley.
That's something that I haven't seen. I know we're ending the show here, but that's something I'm not seeing take off. Like, I thought with the popularity of UFC, the popularity of wrestling, there's got to be some, and we both know there's amateur wrestling collectors out there, but I just thought I would see a lot more people talking about them. And
you're taking our, regardless, we have a brighter spotlight on our hobby, which we know we do now, but you're still taking a small niche of the entire collectible trading card worlds like that, and now you're taking even a smaller niche. And that's
true.
So, I mean, we're having a difficult time trying to get this over. It's like that. I only got one impossible project at a time I can handle right now. So.
All right, you guys can find all my stuff at Zhan Morning on all social platforms, Wrestling with Cards on YouTube, and Wrestling with Cards, the podcast. Speaking of podcasts, the one you're listening to right now, that's more important anyway, please subscribe on whatever popular podcast platform you're listening to this on. And most importantly, if you like what we're doing, if you've liked our past podcasts, if you like this one, make sure to tell a friend about it and share this. That's the best way we can kind of grow the listenership, get more people into the hobby, talking about wrestling cards, and make sure to tag us on social media. Again, me and Tony are always talking about engagement.
Yep.
Like, get involved with the discussion. Let us know what you like, you don't like. What do you think about hand-signed wrestling cards? Maybe it's a more of a kind of, divided discussion than what we think it is. I don't know, but we'd love to hear your feedback on social platforms. Again, links in the show notes to what we've talked about. And
yeah, even if you got something else that we haven't ever talked about, and you have a top show topic ideas, shoot them to us, man. We'll be happy.
Absolutely. We've already done a couple of episodes where we mentioned it was a topic that was voted on by Twitter guys, or something that was emailed to one of us or whatever. Like, we do take requests, so whatever you guys want to hear, let us know. Keep listening, keep collecting wrestling cards, and keep having fun. Most importantly, we'll see you.
Wrestling cards rule.